Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines with Living the One Light. Okay, in this video, I'm going to be talking about what lots and lots of people are talking about, the new moon solar eclipse coming on April 8th, in just a couple weeks, less than a couple weeks. And there are many components, of course, yet again, to everything, including to this eclipse. I've touched on the eclipse in various ways. Pretty much probably every astrologer out there is talking about it. But what I'm feeling really called to particularly focus on in this video is Ceres, the role of Ceres and the potential of this time to be possibly quite challenging to our nervous systems, and the role that I'm feeling very strongly of the Ceres energy, what that is. So I want to drop into what that is, how I'm feeling her here in us, holding us, and I'm feeling like maybe she wants to channel through also later on in the video. So yeah, really, unbelievably, incredibly powerful time, as you've heard me say probably, and again, probably just about anyone out there. The month of April is, very, 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 very strong. Definitely the most on the surface astrologically powerful month of 2024 by far. We not only have the eclipse, the solar eclipse happening on April 8th, we also have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening in Taurus on April 20th. So those are the two probably biggest astrological events of the year, just again on the surface level. They're definitely the two that jumped out at me when I first was looking at the astrology of 2024 last summer, and they happen to be in the same month together. Okay, so there's that. So first, I'm going to drop into the actual astrology of what's going on right now and look at the chart of the new moon eclipse. And then I'll say more about what I'm feeling in the energetics and the opportunities here and how we're being held and the role of Ceres and all of it. And then I'll let her speak, or whatever is wanting to channel through. I'm just feeling an energy wanting to come through, whatever that is. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start with where we are right now. So I'm recording this video on Wednesday, March 27th. So we had the first eclipse of this. There's two eclipses happening this season. And the first eclipse was just after midnight, 2 days ago on March 25th, just after midnight, my time, California time, Pacific time. And so it was a full moon in Libra. So it was a lunar eclipse. It was a partial lunar eclipse. And I did, again, for any of you who are interested in the eclipse workshop that I did, that's still recorded, still available. I go into, lots and lots of depth. What is an eclipse in general, and what are the components of each of these eclipses, these two eclipses? How do they fit into the cycle of the eclipses we had last October and the ones coming up next fall? And then I channeled. It ended up being a 3-hour workshop. So I channeled for, the workshop itself was 2 hours, and then I did channeling that was another 45 minutes or an hour or something. So anyway, so that's still all available. If you really want to go deeply into all of it, feel free. Okay, so, but now what I'm feeling in this moment, now that we're like, right in the portal in between the two eclipses, what I started feeling this morning when I woke up and I was doing my praying was that the first eclipse, again, was a full moon in Libra. So on the south node of the moon was the moon. Let me actually, I will pull up the chart for you so you can see. So here is the chart of the full moon lunar eclipse that already happened on March 25th, right at basically midnight, again, Pacific time. And so, like I was saying, the moon was at 5 degrees of Libra, the sun was at 5 degrees of Aries. So when I dropped into my praying this morning, what I basically felt immediately was this sense on an energy body level of of everything collapsing into wholeness, into oneness. And what I felt in that was that it's like everything is colliding right now back into the reality that we are the one, that there is no separation, that all of the experience of separation has been an illusion, et cetera, et cetera. And what I recognized as I was dropping into that is that this first eclipse we had highlights the polarities. So all full moons highlight polarities because we have the sun on one side of the earth and the moon on the other side of the earth, basically holding space for, in this case, Libra and Aries. And so it's doing this dance of pulling apart and really highlighting those polarities. And so this morning when I was dropping into my praying, it felt kind of like this first eclipse is almost like you can imagine like a rubber band pulling apart those polarities of self and other, Aries, Libra, and really accentuating this dynamic of me and other, and getting my needs met and being aware of and accommodate, or honoring of the needs of myself and the needs of others at the same time. So it's like that got accentuated, like if you imagine a rubber band, right? But now the full moon is waning and it's heading toward the new moon that will happen on April 8th at the solar eclipse. So suddenly, energetically, what I was feeling in that, it's like that rubber band got stretched at the lunar eclipse, and now it's released, and the energetic is just collapsing like a rubber band would, when you let it go, suddenly, boom. Energetically, we're heading into this time of coming into the newness, the oneness, the newness of oneness. So it's a new moon that we're heading toward. Now let me pull up the chart of the solar eclipse. Okay, so it's going to be a new moon at 19 degrees of Aries, exactly conjunct Chiron within 1 minute. And it's on the North Node in Aries. It's a total solar eclipse. It's, very, 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 the new moon is very close to the North Node of the moon. So a new moon, any new moon, is an energetic of newness, the start of a cycle, the beginning, the seed time. Aries is the first sign in the zodiac, so it's also a starting energy. And the North Node of the moon is very much about where our soul is heading, like what is in alignment for our soul to go toward in this lifetime. For me, just as a note, I don't agree with the perspective that the South Node is what we're leaving behind and the North Node is where we're heading. For me, the nodes are really about the South Node being what we're bringing into the energetics that are coming in with us into this lifetime. And the North Node is like a kind of a key energetic of what will then help us to balance what we're already coming in with. And it's not quite that simple, but just on a basic level, the nodes for me are not about leaving one thing, one end of the polarity, and heading to the other polarity. It's about balancing the two and coming to the middle. So just to clarify, just to make that point, because some astrologers, who I actually really, really admire and like a lot, talk more about the south node being what you're leaving behind and the north node being where we're heading, as like in the sense of we don't want that south node stuff. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's healthy, actually, because then that accentuates this idea of polarity and separation, when the point is the point of life is really the balancing and the coming to center. So Heather Ensworth also would agree that that's how she, I don't want to speak for her, but that's definitely how she tends to describe things. And yeah, I would say Heather and I are very much on the same page with all of that. So, and with most things. Okay. But yeah, other astrologers definitely talk about it in a way that doesn't feel right for me, even though I love them and they're great in so many ways too. Okay. So, but the North Node, even though I don't feel like it's, the thing we're heading toward and we're leaving behind the South Node, the North Node, regardless, still absolutely has this energetic of newness in a sense. So we have, again, a new moon in Aries on the North Node. It's like new, 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 new. And it's on the North Node. So it's very much in line with and aligned with our soul purpose, our soul destiny, what we're here to be doing on a soul level as a collective and as individuals. Okay. So like I said, so that we just had this full moon lunar eclipse that was like maybe like that rubber band accentuating, pulling apart and accentuating those polarities. And now the rubber band has been released because the full moon is over, and now the moon is it's waning and heading toward the new moon coming on April 8th. And we have, 2 weeks between the two eclipses. So it's not like an instantaneous switch from a full moon to a new moon, but energetically, I'm really feeling it in a sense as kind of already here, almost basically already happening. Even though the new moon isn't here yet, I energetically am already feeling that energy. And I'm sure it'll get even stronger. I'm sure it'll change, between now and April 8th for me. But I tend to feel the energetics of astrological transits before they happen. I've heard that from a lot of people, actually. Maybe it's similar for you. I don't know. But it's all energy. And none of these transits are really usually about an exact moment. It's about the flow of energy. So in the flow of the energy right now, that's what I'm feeling, is already this boom colliding into the one, the point of beginning, and the point of that truth of ourselves as the one and as the spark of existence, the spark of the divine that is manifesting new out of source, out of Pisces. So Aries energy comes from Pisces energy, right? So Aries energy is very much about the spark, the beginning, but it's not a spark out of nothing. It's actually a spark coming out of Pisces. That's a different topic. But it's related. And actually, at this point in history, all of the seasonal sign of Aries is actually in the sky, is in the constellation of Pisces, or the constellation of the fishes. Same deal. So that's a really, really interesting overlay, that when we're talking about things being in the sign of Aries, another layer to that is that, again, in this moment in time, due to the precession of our planet, the sign of Aries is actually overlaid with the constellation of the fishes, Pisces. So Aries and Pisces, have a really integral relationship with each other. And that's just something really interesting to feel into, and that's something we're going to be feeling into quite deeply in the Astrology 101 course that I'm hosting. So yeah, we're doing that every month. Every month we're feeling into the seasonal sign, and then also the constellation that goes with that sign. Again, I'm oversimplifying, but that's the general idea. So yeah, so that's huge. Okay. So energetically, I'm feeling, again, us having been kind of pulled apart into the wow, what is that word? What's the noun version of that? The polarities have been accentuated, and now we're coming energetically into the, colliding into that point of beginning and point of oneness. And Chiron is there, really, again, bringing healing to ourselves as beings who exist. Like, really, this is a time of being able to claim the reality that we are whole in that perfection of the being that is us, that is the spark of the divine coming out of source, coming out of Pisces, that there's been so much hurt, so much shame, so much guilt, so much trauma around the notion of even existing and being present in and our right, not only our right to exist, but just the fact that we just do exist. We are a perfect being, a perfect spark of the divine, literally. And that's a huge component of what this solar eclipse energy is holding for us. And we're already basically, I feel it, we're already there in that energy. But again, I'm sure it will evolve as we get even closer to the actual event. Okay. So then next, what I'm feeling in this that feels really important to name is, at the same time, we also have Jupiter heading into its conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. I've talked about this so many times, and some of you have seen the 2 videos that I made called Tips for a Highly Uranian Time, Part 1 and Part 2. I'm going to be making a Part 3, probably either later this week or maybe next week. And lots of you have really enjoyed those videos. So if you haven't seen them, please feel free to go back and watch them, because they're still incredibly relevant and they're building up to Part 3. So I'm really excited to do Part 3. But I feel like Part 1 and 2 are like building blocks to Part 3. So again, I will link those with this video and go back and watch that. But part of what I feel in the Jupiter building into its conjunction with Uranus is also this colliding into the reality of ourselves as the one, the truth of the divine, Uranus, ourselves as the alignment of the electrical impulse that is the light of the divine itself. So that's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger as we're building toward April 20th, when it will be exact. But again, I'm already feeling it. It's feeling so powerful and so strong that, just kaboom. Like, this time, we're in this portal of this eclipse season with the energetic of Jupiter and Uranus already basically, they are conjunct. They're just not exact. But if you look in the sky, they're going to be in the same part of the sky. Or, they have been for a while. And they're just getting closer and closer and closer. So the energy of them is converging. It's coming together already, even though we're almost a month away from the exact conjunction. But all of this energy is all together, all at the same time, holding space and really giving us this opportunity to kaboom, come into the reality of ourselves as pure wholeness and pure oneness. That the sense that we have had in this, great time of forgetting has been incredibly painful and incredibly traumatizing a lot of the time, and through eons, not only in this lifetime, but through many, 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 many lifetimes that many of us have had on this planet. And now we are in a time of great remembering. So, so a key component as we're coming into that time of great remembering is to, on an energy body level, to come kaboom straight back into a deep energy body remembering of the wholeness, the oneness, the perfection that we are as the spark of the divine, literally. Okay. So that's the key thing I feel in this eclipse, the key potential, energy being held there. What I want to speak to, though, also is that as these energies are so strong, both the energy of Aries and the energy of Jupiter conjunct Uranus, both of them, and especially I would say with Pluto currently in Aquarius and being ruled by Uranus, right? All of those energies have a side to them that can be definitely not inevitable at all, but can be experienced as quite disruptive and quite possibly traumatic or violent. And like there's a certain edge to the energies that absolutely can feel very destabilizing. So, and eclipses in general can feel that way. So I had an experience yesterday that I feel called to share because it's minor. It's a minor example compared to the bazillions of things going on this planet. But I think it kind of illustrates what I'm talking about, and this will lead to my point about Ceres. Okay. And actually this will also lead to my part 3, what I'm going to be talking about in the tips for a highly Uranian time part 3. I will kind of continue this story, I think, when I get to that video. But on a basic level, so not always. Sometimes what can happen during eclipse times, and also when there's a highly Uranian transit, and we happen to be having both happening at the same time, an underlying, if you want to say, goal or purpose of those energetics often is to bring things into alignment with the divine, the truth of the divine. And that can be very gentle. That doesn't have to be harsh or dramatic in any way. But if things are out of alignment, both eclipses and Uranus transits can kind of yank us back into alignment or yank things back into alignment. So they can be experienced as, things that kind of come out of the blue or really unexpected or shock our nervous system in various ways. So I had an experience yesterday, exemplifies this. This was Tuesday, March 26th. So the day after the eclipse, the first eclipse, the full moon eclipse. Okay. So I was, long story short, in February, early February, we had a lot of rains here in California. And in the middle of those rains, my 17-year-old noticed there was water leaking in our ceiling. And so we thought initially it was because of the rain. Turned out it wasn't because of the rain. It was because of my upstairs neighbor having a leak in their sink, we think. So, again, long story short, I hired a company to come, and they had to tear apart my ceiling and dry it out and blah, 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 blah. Okay. And And so when that kind of thing happens, maybe that kind of thing has happened for you, but there's two parts to the fixing of it, right? The first is the demolition part where they take apart your ceiling and they have to dry it out and all that. And then part two, which is often done by a different set of people, is the actual putting it back together and repairing it. The putting back the ceiling, right? So the people who came and did the demolition part came out really quickly, like the next day, and they did a great job, and they, it's all dry and ready to be fixed. But because in California we had these huge torrential rains, lots and lots and lots of people were having similar issues, like trees falling and on their houses and flooding from the rain and blah, blah, blah. So it was really hard to find anybody to come fix it, to actually put the ceiling back. And so I prayed on it. And, I could have really insisted, like gotten upset or like, called lots and lots of people and said, I need my ceiling back or whatever it is. And that was a choice. I mean, I wasn't opposed to doing that, but when I prayed on it, what I got told very clearly was, don't worry about it. Don't rush getting it fixed. This is the words they used. There is another wave that needs to happen before you get it fixed in order for the issue to really be resolved. Okay. So I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but okay, so I'm not going to rush it. So I just kind of let things happen in their own time. And I did find someone to fix it, and I like them and blah, blah, blah. So, but finally, a month and a half later, yesterday, the guys were here to finally put back my ceiling. So they started working, and they had put up one panel on my ceiling. They were like, barely had started. And I started hearing water. Like I was like, did they turn on my shower? What is going on? And they ran into the room I was in and they said, emergency, emergency. And guess what? The leak had happened again. So there was now water pouring through my ceiling again. And it turned out the upstairs neighbor again had whatever, like, it is to be continued what the actual source of the leak is, but there are various theories. And anyway, long story short, which I will continue in part 3 of the tips for a highly Uranian time. This is all really interesting on that level too. Basically, long story short, we got the water turned off. It was like amazing timing, unbelievable timing that those guys happened to be here. First of all, I was home, like I wasn't out of town or something. Second of all, those guys happened to be right here. Third, they hadn't actually closed up my ceiling yet, because if they had, they would have just take it all down, right? They had just put up one thing, and so they took that down. But there was a whole bunch more they were about to do, and they hadn't done it yet. Number 4, which again, I'll kind of elaborate on more in the other video, but again, long story shorter, there were all kinds of issues with the upstairs neighbor that haven't been addressed for years and years and years. And so when this was all happening, I called the police and they happened to send a brand new officer who is the liaison to my city, to my city's social services. And so that guy he's the resource officer, and he was so nice, so amazing. And he ended up also getting the housing authority involved. Anyway, that's a longer story for another time, but it ended up being addressed in a way that was just like, wow, thank you so much. Amazing. Okay. So again, that's for this other part 3 of that video. The point for this video is, probably you're not very surprised. Even though it was okay, like there's nothing, it didn't cause any more damage really. They had to dry it out and again, luckily they hadn't really fixed anything yet, so they just took down what they had already done. They put up these drying machines that are very, very loud, and they're drying out the ceiling again, and etc. And now the issue is just to figure out, well, what really is causing this leak, because it needs to be fixed. But my point for this is, what's so fascinating to me is that I was told so specifically and so clearly in my praying to not rush the timing, to not rush the fixing of it, because another wave needs to move through in order for the issue to really be addressed. I'm not even clear yet what the issue is referring to. I think it's, again, I'll say more in another video, but I think it's more about addressing the needs of my upstairs neighbor, who has a lot of issues and hasn't been getting her needs addressed. And the social worker in me is like, you need to XYZ Q, the right people need to help her. And yesterday that started happening. So even though, in a certain way, the more transcendent Martha, the praying Martha, like, can see it. I can get it from that perspective. Okay, this is all in service of healing. This is all in service of coming into alignment. Like, this is such a classic eclipse event, right? Or like a Uranian transit event. It's like, all right, okay, all right, I get it that this is in service of something good. But in the meantime, my body, my energy body, my nervous system, my physical body, my emotional body don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I was in the middle of a session with a client when that happened, and I had to end the session. I was not happy, right? And my body was on alert. Like, so I had a really hard time sleeping last night, and I'm feeling better today, but right, my nervous system went into overdrive because it was really unsettling event. So so that's an example of that these energies can bring in experiences like that. And I get it, that this is very mild compared to so many things happening on our planet. But just to give one example, it can feel really, really destabilizing and unsettling and even traumatic, and mild trauma or big trauma. I would call this a mild trauma, but still my body felt traumatized for sure. Okay. So these kind of things could be popping up or happening or whatever, and maybe not. I mean, I don't want to project that at all, but just I'm naming this in case these kind of feelings are arising, because my ultimate point here is Ceres. So let me show you the charts again of this time. So here is the eclipse, the full moon eclipse. Okay. So again, here is the moon at 5 degrees of Libra, the sun at 5 degrees of Aries, and the nodes, the south node at 15 degrees of Libra and the north node at 15 degrees of Aries. So take a look at Ceres. It's basically exactly squaring the nodes during that first eclipse. And then I'll show you the second eclipse in a minute, and it's still exactly squaring the nodes. So we have Ceres holding the space of this whole eclipse season. And Ceres, I'll say more about that in one second, but Ceres is the Earth Mother. Ceres is unconditional love for ourselves, for our world, for people we love, for our children, for anything, really. And what I'm feeling in her more and more and more powerfully is her role, maybe especially when she's in Capricorn. I don't know, but I'm just feeling this in my own body so powerfully, is the Ceres energy as a powerful grounding holder and soother of our nervous systems. So, just to come back to my example of the ceiling and all that. So last night, I had these really loud drying machines going, and my cats were outside, and they made it known they wanted to come inside at 3 a.m. and I couldn't sleep anyway. So I was awake. So I was like, oh my God. So I let in my cats, and and they were scared of the machine. So I turned it off just to let their nervous systems relax and let my nervous system relax. And I could feel it. It was really powerful Ceres energy in my own body, my own being, right? Especially toward my one cat, who is like the baby. And she's so cute. And you might have seen her on some of my videos, because she'll often come and, sit on my lap when I'm doing videos. And she's little, and she's fuzzy, and she's chubby, and she's so adorable, and purrs, and, she's just really, really, really cute. Okay. So, and she was the one that was seeming the most nervous. So what my body responded by having this powerful, what I felt as Ceres energy, just moving through my body. And I went over to her, and I was petting her, and trying to help her nervous system literally calm down. And I'm also a body worker and an energy worker. And so that's part of, I can feel and see inside the body and the nervous system itself, right? So that's part of what was playing in there. But we all instinctively do that. We're, somebody, like a child or somebody, is hurt, we're gonna want to hug them, or hold the part of them that's hurt, whatever it is. We have that natural healing light, healing energy as the being that we are. We're made of that. And so it's that Ceres energy that's holding the space when she's squaring the nodes of the moon. During this whole eclipse time, she's holding the healing space of the eclipses. So one way I describe this is that I think of, if you're familiar with craniosacral therapy or Reiki or anything like that, especially craniosacral therapy, it's like, I think of, maybe the south node as like the hand under the sacrum. Like if you imagine yourself lying on a massage table, and you're with somebody doing craniosacral therapy on you, and assuming you feel safe and you feel good with that and everything, so you can imagine the south node is like the person's putting their hand under your sacrum, and then the north node is like the cosmos, in a sense, putting their hand under your occiput, which is, the back of your head, so your lower back, and then the back of your head. So they're just gently holding that. But when something is squaring the nodes, especially on an eclipse, so powerful, it's like that being, so I've been feeling it. It's like that being is the one sitting, doing the holding, because they're in the middle. So it's like Ceres is the craniosacral holder right now, if that makes sense. It's so beautiful to me. Like when that clicked in for me, I went, oh my God, wow. So we're being held in this time of coming back into that, kaboom, like remembering ourselves as the perfection, the oneness of the all that is. And like I've said, there's so much potential possibly for, kind of disarming or unnerving events to occur. But Ceres is here holding us, holding the healing space. She's the energy worker in this case, or she's the body worker, right? She's the cosmic healer of unconditional love and grounding and Earth Mother. She's the Earth Mother, helping our nervous system to just relax. Okay, and so just to kind of complete that thought, let me show you the chart then of the solar eclipse so you can see how. So this is the lunar eclipse that we've already had. You can see Ceres is at 14 degrees of Capricorn, squaring the nodes there on that eclipse, and then we move to the solar eclipse, and still the nodes are at 15. During eclipse season, the nodes like really pretty much don't move. So they're still at 15 degrees of Aries and Libra, and Ceres has moved 3 degrees, but she's still squaring the nodes. And then the other thing, I'll say more about this, in future videos, because it's going to be relevant for many, many months. But Ceres is going to be going retrograde in Capricorn. So she's actually going to be squaring the nodes of the moon for many months. And again, I'll do a whole video probably just on this topic. Heather Ensworth talked about this in her full moon video. Full moon eclipse video, which was great. I loved it. Highly recommend it. She talked about this dynamic, but the other thing that's going on at this eclipse and that's going to be going on even more and more and more strongly over this next few months and in the summer it'll be exact, is that there's this Ixion Quawar Pholas Ceres conjunction that's going to be happening for a whole bunch of months, all squaring the nodes. So that's a much longer topic. But on a bottom line level, what I feel in this conjunction is a powerful opportunity for us to be coming into a time of transformation and healing with regard to our ancestral Pholas, Capricorn, our ancestral patterning associated with patriarchy, Ixion, and with the choices that have been made by ourselves and by others, by just people in this time of forgetting, that have been deeply hurtful, deeply narcissistic, and damaging, right? That's just true. That has existed. It still exists. And so this energy, so there's this grouping here of these three, Ixion, Quawar, and Pholas, holding that space of remembering and acknowledging that hurt exists, and doing deep, deep, deep healing work to let the patterning go, and to hold space to sing into existence, Quawar, a remembering of who we actually are. And then Ceres is joining in that mix. She'll be very present in that mix, and she'll be through this whole thing, she's going to be holding space for us to be held, and for our nervous systems to feel okay, to ground, to be soothed, similar to, me like holding my cat and like petting my cat when she's feeling nervous. And myself. So actually the other part of that was that, she came in at 3 a.m. and she was nervous, and then I calmed her down, and then I was like, well, I would really like her to sleep next to me so I can go to sleep. Because it's very soothing to have a cat sleep next to you who's purring and being cute and all that. So I did. So I brought her into the bedroom, and she went crazy I gave her special blankie, and she went crazy, purring and happy and all that. And then she settled down and slept like right behind my back. So I felt her sleeping in kind of the crook of my back. And then I imagined, I do this sometimes, I imagined a big mother wolf curled up against my back, also sleeping, so I could feel my actual little kitty cat. And then I could feel this more kind of powerful presence of this maternal wolf being, like a white wolf, with her back against my back. And then I could fall asleep, like, oh, right. So that was that was me giving Ceres energy, and then me receiving Ceres energy. So it's both about giving and receiving. Ceres to me is absolutely both directions, not just, definitely not just giving, not just giving. It's also very much about receiving it. Okay. And I think a lot of us need reminders to receive it. So, speaking of receiving it, this video is going on a little while here, but I'm feeling called to just end this with a little bit of channeling so you can feel it, so you can receive that Ceres energy. So let's do that. And okay. Okay, hello and welcome. So I am, and you are, this body, this being who is Earth Mother Ceres energy. And I am, and you are, an extension of the Earth herself. Literally. So in this moment, briefly, I would love to give you this opportunity, and in whatever way feels right for you, to give your nervous system a chance to completely, totally relax, to feel held, to know what it is to come back into radical balance and harmony of the earth, of the all that is, and of yourself. So a reminder that when you are in a moment of fear or panic or destabilization on a nervous system level or a body level, that often can be because your being, your body, is needing or wanting to be hypervigilant to prevent some kind of trauma. And just as a reminder, that response in your body and your being is adaptive. It is a gift for when you are in true actual danger, immediate danger. But it's only a gift for the immediate kind of danger, which, if you are here listening to this video, chances are you're probably not in actual acute immediate danger where that kind of hypervigilance would be serving of you and your highest level. So part of my role and my energy, that is you, that is all things, that is the earth itself, that is the cosmos itself, is to even just give you a reminder and give you permission. You don't need my permission, but it might feel helpful to have me say out loud that I give you permission to release the hypervigilance. And I give you permission to simply let go, be held. And that if you feel like you need or want a guardian, like a part of yourself is wanting to be a guardian, to be on watch for something, which can be a very Aries kind of an energy, then I would love to offer you the opportunity to ask for one of your benevolent beings spirit allies to be that guardian, that watch being for you. So you don't have to do it. So in this moment, I would like to invite you, again, in whatever way feels right for you, into a magical, deep woods or forest. And in this magical woods, you have the earth herself. You have these trees who are your friends, your companions, who know you and you know them. And you have all of the woodland creatures. So the animals, the birds, the insects, the wind through the leaves of the trees, the breezes. They're all your companions and your friends and your allies. And again, if you have a part of yourself that is trying to, in a sense, sort of multitask, would invite you to ask for help from one of these many, many infinite allies that are here with you, as you, for you, and just delegate, just let them take over whatever tasks you can give to them. Anything you don't actually need to be doing right this minute. So again, one of them maybe can just take on being the watch being. They can be watching if there's anything you need to know, and then they can convey that to you if that's important or necessary. Maybe there's another being who can take on other tasks if there are other things that you are, there are specific things you're scared of or worried about, or things you're trying to remember that you need to do. Whatever it is, you can just let any one of these infinite benevolent beings take those for you, at least for now. And then we invite you to, again, however, in whatever way feels right for you, to come and maybe lie under one of these beautiful, old, ancient trees who are your friends, who are your allies, who are your family. You can come and lie under one of these trees, and then we offer for you, if it feels right, for you to invite us, for you to invite in many, many, many benevolent woodland creatures of all kinds, animals, maybe fairies, gnomes, spirit allies of all kinds, spirit beings of all kinds, beings of various realms, maybe angelic beings, or even unicorns, or dragons, or whoever else is alive and present for you in this woodland magical place that is you. And taking a deep breath, we invite you to just be. To let these magical woodland beings to do healing for you, or maybe they want to do it. dance or tell jokes. Maybe they want to put on a play, make you laugh. Maybe they have a gift for you or a message, or maybe you're just going to sit and chat and talk. Maybe you make them laugh and they make you laugh. And this whole time, whatever is going on, whatever's happening, this is a time when your nervous system, your body are simply co-regulating, coming back into the dance of the oneness of the all that is you, that is these trees, that is these woodland beings who are your friends and your allies. And maybe you stay lying under the tree, or maybe you sit up and rest your back against the tree, and you can feel the ancient life, the flow of life in the trunk of the tree and the branches of the tree, and the way the trees all talk with each other through the roots, through the earth itself, through the branches, through the sunlight, through the water, through the insects, through the animals, through the canopy of the oneness of the whole forest. And the being of the earth as part of the oneness of the wholeness of this forest and beyond. And then the last component here is, if there's something in your being, in your body, in your energy body, your emotional body, your physical body, your etheric body and being, so if there's something alive, if you notice if there's something alive in you where there's a wish or a need or an intention, or maybe something that you feel called to give, you can notice it, you can name it, you can let yourself receive it or give it, both. Just see whatever's alive for you here and now. And you can come back and be with this again and again and again and see whatever else arises or is alive for you in this moment and in any given moment. So you are held always by Mother Gaia herself, the earth itself, canopy of these trees, all these friends of the forest system. You and the earth and all these beings are always all held in the cosmos itself, in the time-space continuum itself, in the womb of existence itself, and then beyond that into the void, into the nothing and the everything of the all that is. We invite you to remember that you are held in this way all the time, anytime you need it, to come back into this way of remembering or another way of remembering, whatever is right for you and whatever calls to you in any given moment. You are so infinitely loved. You are absolutely infinitely perfect. Thank you so much for being here. And so it is. Amen. Okay. Great. I feel better. That's what I needed last night. So I hope that feels good for you. And if you want to learn more about Ceres, actually, I did a free talk on Ceres and Persephone. Ceres is the mother of Persephone. So I did a free talk about a year and a half ago. I'll link that video with this video also if you want to go back and hear that. Ceres and Persephone were actually the first two goddesses that Verena Burrell and I did in our conversations with the goddesses series a year ago. And that's fully recorded now, and all 12 goddesses that we focused on are all available if any of that calls to you. We've lowered the price on that series. Yeah. I think that's all I feel called to say right this second. If you feel called to connect with me in any other way, I'm doing some sessions, not a ton right now, but some. And you're still welcome to join the astrology course if that we're kind of on our way with that. But if that somehow is really, really calling to you, definitely let me know. You're welcome to join the Chris Skidmore series. That's definitely still joinable. And yeah, more coming soon. I'll say more. I think that's enough for right now. But yeah, if you feel called to connect with me in any way, please reach out. I love hearing from you. I'd love for you to comment here on this video. I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm kind of revising my membership also, so I'll say more about that probably coming up soon. But I do have a membership that you're welcome to join. I have a membership actually on this YouTube channel, which I've never even mentioned. So many other things going on. You can join that for, I think, the lowest, for as little as, I think, $2 a month or something like that. Really, really not expensive at all. So if you feel like you're, getting a lot out of these videos and you're not involved with me in other ways and you want to support what I'm doing, I certainly appreciate that. I'm a mom with 2 kids and definitely appreciate any support. Even $2 a month is, great. And yeah, I'll be, again, revamping my actual membership in the next month or so, and I'll be offering some new sacred sharing soul sharing sacred soul sharing circles. They were going to be small and maximum of 8 people each. I'll probably be offering 2 per month. That'll be starting in May. And yeah, I'll say more about all that coming up. But I do have a membership also you can join for $22 a month. It's super, hopefully not expensive, and we meet once a month. And there's more information I can link there. Yeah. But most of all, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would love for you, it's free to subscribe. I'd love for you to hit subscribe. And if you like this video, I love to know by you clicking like, and I really love it when you comment. Also, it just helps me know what resonates and what doesn't. And thank you so much. And thank you so just to say, I don't even know how many people, I really lost track of how many people wrote me about the video with Chris Skidmore, the interview that I did with him, or where he interviewed me. I was deeply touched by all of your messages and emails and comments, and yeah, thank you. Really meant a lot to me. And I think it says a lot that there's just so many of us needing to be seen, and that kind of more spiritual, coming out of the closet spiritually is a really big deal for a lot of you, I think. And that felt like that's a big part of what was being reflected in how many people wrote to me about it. And I think it was a reflection of lots of things, but including, how beautifully Chris held that space and, on and on. But Yeah, just thank you so much. I felt it. I felt every single message really deeply and really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Big hugs to all of you. It's a very, very powerful time. Lots of self-care. Come back to this series channeling anytime you want it or need it. And if you want other supports, I have lots and lots and lots of other supports available on my website, including the one-on-one sessions with me, but lots of other things. Lots of, yeah. Anyway, lots of things you can access. Okay. I will see you soon.